So in the back of my head, I was just like, Busie, how dare you be ungrateful? How dare you be ungrateful for this life that you have? So I tried so much to suppress that I was lonely, to suppress the fact that I wanted people to talk to me. I felt ashamed for just even thinking about voicing it out to say, you know what, guys, I'm grateful that you guys are coming here, but you're not asking about me. You're not focusing on me. Everything is about my child. And I think that continued even after the fourth trimester. It was mostly about the child, right? And it should be about the child and the mother. Welcome to Mom on Purpose with Busie Sholo, the podcast. I am Busie Sholo, and each week I'll be bringing you an inspiring message or conversation to remind you that motherhood was never meant to tame you. So if you're ready to get untamed, to redefine motherhood for yourself, to learn and unlearn, to reignite and pursue your dreams beyond motherhood, then you are definitely in the right place. Let's get started. Hello guys, welcome to the very first episode of the Mom on Purpose with Busie Sholo podcast. Oh my goodness, I am so mind blown by the love that everybody showed me when I dropped my trailer last week. I can't get over it actually. On YouTube, Anga Yosi said, I'm ready. I cannot wait for this one. And on IG, Millicent Musuo said, congratulations, sis. We can't wait. Listen, you are a voice that matters. Oh my goodness. If this isn't love and support, I don't know what is. I'm so grateful for you guys. And know that you can leave your comment and review in whichever platform that you are enjoying this podcast from, and I'll be sure to pick one or two every week to just spread the love. And also know that you can leave your questions that you have for me. You can drop them via email to me on info@onpurposewithbusiesholo.com, and I'll be sure to drop that email address on the show notes. So how did we get here? Why the podcast? Okay, so from June 2022, I've been doing an IG show, which is Mom on Purpose with Busie Sholo, the show. And I was doing it every week, having conversations with amazing moms where they came and they shared their own stories about motherhood and how they're navigating mom guilt and pursuing their dreams and just their core beliefs in pursuing their dreams as a mom. And because sometimes there's a narrative that if you're a mom you cannot do this and you cannot do that, so everyone was just coming and pouring their hearts and sharing how exactly they do things. So then I got requests on, can you please put this on YouTube? We're not always available to listen on Instagram, so this was just a natural progression of the show. So yeah, that's how we got here. And another reason is that I'm so much of a big fan of storytelling, right? Because storytelling is empowering, storytelling is liberating, in that when you hear somebody else speak their story and say what they've gone through and how they do things without being ashamed of it, it actually makes you to get rid of the shame as well. It empowers you because you are able to say, I'm not the only one. People actually go through these things, right? So yeah, I believe in it so much. It's so liberating. It gives us language. Oh my goodness, that's a big one. It gives us language because sometimes it's possible to go through something and not really know what it is and not really know what to call it. And then you watch somebody else who's telling their story, or you read a book where somebody's telling their story and you're just like, oh, they put it so well. That's what I've been going through and I didn't know what to call it. So that's why we are having the podcast. Okay, so let's get started on this week's episode. I have entitled it Becoming a Mother, just because of how potent the word becoming is, right? I looked it up, and the Oxford Dictionary said that becoming means to develop into. And it also said that it means to grow into. So if I were to perhaps rephrase today's episode, and instead of saying becoming a mother and use these definitions, it would be develop into a mother or grow into a mother, which makes so much sense because the entire journey and role of motherhood is about becoming, about growing into. And that's absolutely amazing. I think this topic is very important because so many moms are struggling with becoming a mother, and so much so that because becoming also speaks of the transition into motherhood, right? So I know that so many moms are struggling with it, and I struggled with the transition myself. It was hectic. So I believe that this conversation is very necessary. So adjusting to motherhood can take longer than we think. And which is why I want to put emphasis on the fact that becoming a mother is not only for the mom who's just becoming the mother for the first time, is not only about the newborn stage of motherhood. I mean, you are becoming every day. You are becoming a mom to a newborn, yes. You're becoming a mom when you're entering the terrific twos. You are becoming a mom still when you're becoming a mom to a preschooler, a primary schooler, a high school. You can see where I'm going with this, right? You are forever becoming and adjusting and transitioning to different seasons of motherhood. So it is very, very important, right? And another thing is that as moms, we always pressure ourselves to wanting to know. Like we always say, I should have known this. I should have known that. I should have known that this, I'm a mom. I should have figured it out. I should have known, we always say. But I think the word becoming liberates us in that we are continuously learning. We are continuously unlearning. We shouldn't be knowing things. It's not a trap to say, okay, if you don't know or if you didn't know something, then you're a bad mother. No. So becoming a mother is a very important topic. So yes, motherhood is a continuous journey of learning. Underline journey. I want to read a quote from Michelle Obama. It's from her book Becoming. And she put becoming so beautifully, and I quote, "For me, becoming isn't about arriving somewhere or achieving a specific aim. I see it instead as forward motion, a means to evolving, a way to reach continuously towards a better self. The journey doesn't end." And that is absolutely amazing. The journey doesn't end. She put it so well, and I agree so much, because you don't wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm tired of being a mom. I'm no longer going to be a mom. You don't get to do that, right? So the journey doesn't end. You're continuously learning. And for me, it just put emphasis on the importance of giving yourself grace in your journey of becoming a mother, right? So I've got points and things that I want to share that I wish I had known before becoming a mother about becoming a mother, right? So I want to share a few of those with you. Okay, number one is that becoming a mother is as much about the mother as it is about the baby. The honest truth is that it can be made about the child. At least it was like that for me. Listen, I was excited that I'd given birth safely, praising God. I mean, those toothless smiles from my girl were everything. And there came a time when we were discharged and I went home and I was updating friends and saying, okay, you know what? I've given birth and I'm at home. You guys can come and see us and everything. But it really seemed like the fourth trimester was about my child. That everyone who was coming in was like, oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. She looks like your grand. She looks like your mom. Oh my God, she's got her dad's eyes. And I was grateful that people came to see us. But there was a part of me yearning and wanting them to ask about me. How are you doing, Busie? How are you taking everything? How are you feeling about motherhood? It seemed like people were silently or unconsciously saying to me, okay, you've done your job of bringing this child to the world. Thank you so much. Move over so we can focus on her. And the biggest part of it for me was that I couldn't voice it out. Or maybe, let me say, I believed that I couldn't voice it out. Listen, this is how my life was. I was at home because we were not married yet. And people, or maybe let me say in our society, in our community, there was a lot of stories and a lot of, I don't want to call them stories as if they were not real, but there were a lot of girls my age who actually were pregnant, but then sometimes you find that the father of the child is not in their lives, and or maybe they are in their lives, but they never get to a point of tying the knot and all of that. And here I was loved by the father of my child, my now husband. I was engaged. He was there. He was supportive. He never, even in one day, made me doubt that he was going to be there for us. So in the back of my head, I was just like, Busie, how dare you be ungrateful? How dare you be ungrateful for this life that you have? So I tried so much to suppress that I was lonely, to suppress the fact that I wanted people to talk to me. I felt ashamed for just even thinking about voicing it out, to say, you know what, guys, I'm grateful that you guys are coming here, but you're not asking about me. You're not focusing on me. Everything is about my child. And I think that continued even after the fourth trimester. It was mostly about the child, right? And it should be about the child and the mother. I mean, I think from pregnancy onwards, it should be. The mother is as important as the child. But I wish I had known that, because it would have liberated me and I would have been able to say, you know what, I need a break. I should have been able, I could have been able to have the courage to ask for help and say, you know what, this thing doesn't feel like the way everybody said it was going to feel, or maybe the way that I expected it to feel, because I had an expectation of my own on how motherhood should be and how motherhood should feel, right? And I did not get that. So when it was hard, it was harder for me to actually say it's hard and I need help, because it felt like at that point it wasn't about me, right? So another thing that I wish that I had been told or maybe known more about is that it's possible to lose yourself in the transition to motherhood. I didn't know. I really didn't. When I became a mom, I was thinking about, okay, so how do I raise my daughter? How do I not repeat the things that I did not like in the way that I was raised? You know, there are things that you take with you, and there are things that you just like, when I have kids, I am not going to do that to them. There are those kind of things. So I wasn't thinking to myself, how do I become a mother without losing myself? I mean, no, that wasn't even in my thought pattern at all. I was just trying to take it day by day in my becoming a mother. So I also want to acknowledge that some moms have a really I don't want to say smooth transition, but that they don't lose themselves. Some say, and this is from the conversations that I've had with different amazing moms, they say that I actually feel like I found myself in motherhood. But that wasn't my reality, unfortunately. I felt lost. And obviously it didn't happen overnight. It happened gradually. Initially, the newborn stage of motherhood is demanding for every mom. I mean, I wouldn't expect any woman to already be thinking about, how do I reignite my dreams? How do I reignite my passions? How do I write the book? How do I become the top what in my career? Like immediately after they give birth. I know sometimes life will give us circumstances that we can't really choose from. Sometimes you might have to go back to work early. Sometimes you might have to make decisions that you wish, like, right now, I wish I had the opportunity to just immerse myself in my new motherhood journey and my new motherhood role, you see. So I wouldn't expect that. But I wasn't in a rush to go anywhere, so I wasn't thinking about that. I was just focusing on my child. But then what happened was, I wasn't visiting friends. I wasn't thinking about going back to school. I wasn't thinking about pursuing my dreams. And I lived those kind of days for months and for years, right? Even when my daughter was becoming independent, she's walking, she's trying to say mama, she's saying dada, and all of that. I fell into a routine. I fell into a routine of just waking up, cleaning. Even when she started school, I would dress her up. She would go to preschool. She'll come back and we'll try have, the lingo. She was trying to put words together and I'll listen and I prepare dinner, washing, ironing. That was my life, right? To a point that I lived completely disconnected from my dreams, completely disconnected from my goals, that at some point I felt completely disconnected from myself, that I couldn't recognize myself, right? And it is my daughter again who came back from school the 1 year and she was saying to me, Mama, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. I still remember her adorable little voice. And then she asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I kind of choked. I remember I didn't give her an answer that time about what I want to become. Oh, yes, I just brushed it off. I said, no, I'm already grown. But the thing is that question stung. And it was a question that actually led me to go back and ask myself, what do you really want to become when you grow up? Right? But before then, I spent years. And can you imagine day in and day out when I actually realized that I was literally losing myself, thinking that I will never ever be in that point of actually achieving my dreams. I'm an overthinker, and I'm working on it, but I really tend to overthink things. So it was so bad that I thought to myself, maybe I wasted my education. Maybe I wasted my time going to school, because here I am, a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home wife, and I'm not enjoying it. And for some reason, I had thought that I can't do anything beyond that. That was it for me, right? Maybe I haven't really given it. I don't think I'd actually given it much thought. But for me, it was, also influenced by my background, not having my mother around. I didn't want to not be next to my child. So I think there was also that separation anxiety. If I look for work and all of those things, I felt like I was going to be a bad mother. But I didn't take time to explore what else can happen. What are the other possibilities? How can I pursue my dreams still and still be a good mother to my child? I didn't even think it was a possibility at that time. Sometimes when you are in the funk of the situation, it's hard for you to have perspective and see outside of what things can really become, right? So yeah, it's possible to lose yourself in motherhood. And I really, really wish that someone had told me that and given me pointers on how not to lose myself, right? Which brings me to the next point. I wish I'd known that motherhood is lived in seasons, that there are different seasons within the journey of motherhood. And how that would have saved me from losing myself would have, it actually would have made me realize that the hard season rather of motherhood, where I couldn't pursue my dreams, and the newborn stage where I was overwhelmed and I was tired. The truth is that in that season, the newborn season, I was at home, and everyone will wake up in the morning and go to school and go to work, and the dirty house and the child and the laundry will be left to me. And if you are a mom, you know how difficult it is to take care of yourself. You are tired postpartum, and the house. I remember the times where I'll just be bathing and then I'll hear my daughter crying. I'll have to get out of the bathtub. Not ready, I'm not done, but I'm just going because she's crying and she needs me. At that time, I had swept the 2 rooms, and then you could see the dirt and everything in the passage, because I was doing I've never found cleaning a house so difficult in my life, right? But for me, that was amplified into thinking, how did my life get like this? How did I get here? But had I known that there are seasons, I would have known that, you know what, this is just a season. My child is going to grow. Things will change. yeah, and that I have a right to be able to ask for help and say, okay, before you guys leave for work, can you at least make sure that this is done so that I don't actually struggle like this and still have to cook dinner and everything in during the day. But I kept quiet, right? I didn't talk to anyone about it because I was just like, again, I don't want to seem like I'm ungrateful. And so I did it because I didn't look at it as a season. I didn't look at it as something that's going to end. I felt miserable. But the Bible does say that for everything there's a season, a time for everything under heaven, and that's absolutely true. No matter how hectic a season is, it's that. It's a season. It's going to pass. Just like how there's winter, there's spring, there's autumn, and there's summer. It's like that in motherhood as well. There's the newborn stage and how demanding it can be, and then but you can also see your child growing and becoming independent and learning to do their own things, which affords us mothers an opportunity and time to do things that we were not able to do before, right? I think that just of this point for me is knowing that what you cannot be able to do in one season, you can definitely be able to do in the next season. So you can't write your life off or just use one difficult season to define your entire life. So what you are not able to do in one season, you can be able to do in another season. And another thing about seasons, it's important to embrace the season that you're in because it allows you to actually be at peace, have joy, and it gives you that perspective that you have, or maybe another one that you don't have when you don't have that outlook of life and motherhood being lived in seasons, right? So it's important to embrace your current season of motherhood. And the next point that I have is the fact that you can choose the kind of mother you want to become. It's funny how I knew when I was pregnant that there are things I didn't like about the way that I was parented, and I won't be taking those things into motherhood with me. And I kind of had a clue of the kind of mother that I wanted to become. But in the same breath, I felt pressured to be this kind of mother that society expects me to be. So I had a clue, but I really wasn't sure if I'm really, really allowed to choose the kind of mother I want to become. I felt like there was like a specific box, so to speak, and this is how mothers should do things. This is how mothers should behave. This is how mothers should dress. Because I remember the one time I actually but I had bought an outfit, and it's like buying a new outfit can be such a confidence booster, especially in new motherhood. So I was still very new in motherhood, hadn't done shopping for myself in a while. And while I had gone to shop for my child, I just bought one item for myself. That I came and I tried it on, and I took a picture and I sent to someone, and I just said, oh my God, look at this dress. I'm so in love with this dress. And then the response was just like, but you're a mom now, so how can you dress like that? And I was just like, so bummed. And I was just like, why did I even share this with this person? But anyway, back to the point is that you can decide the kind of mother that you want to become. You can decide if you want to be the mother who's going to pursue her dreams still. You're going to be the mom who's actually going to show your kids that it's possible for you to be loved, to be in a family, to be married, to actually do whatever it is that you want to do and still raise your children well, right? That it doesn't take away from that. It doesn't make you less of a mother if you are pursuing and cultivating all these other areas of your life. Again, there's a quote by Michelle Obama, again from the book Becoming, that I loved so much. She said, if you don't get out there and define yourself, you'll be quickly and inaccurately defined by others. And I love that so much. It is so, so true. There are so many definitions of motherhood and so many shoulds and shouldn'ts, that people have this definition of what it means to be a good mother. And if we don't take the time to ask ourselves, what does being a mother mean for me? what kind of mother do I want to become? Actually, just take those two questions and make them general prompts and take the time to answer them. If you're driving, just ponder on them. If you can, take out your journal, your iPad, and just write down what does motherhood mean for you? What does being a mother mean for you? What kind of mother do you want to become? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind for your children? Right? You can answer the thing, I want to be the kind of mother that teaches my kids about God. I want to be the kind of mother that teaches my kids how to pray and how to trust God with their lives. I want to be the kind of mother that teaches my kids to pursue their dreams. And how are you going to do that? I want to be the kind, all of those things. And I think also at the back of your head, keep in mind that you're going to keep learning new things and unlearning certain things. And that's what you wanted to be, the kind of mother that you wanted to be 3 years ago. You are allowed to change that. You are allowed for it to evolve as you are evolving. It's not just some rigid definition that we are building, even when you feel like, I can't keep up. For example, let's say you said that you want to be the kind of mother that can cook healthy meals for a family every day. And then maybe you land up on a job that's so demanding that you can't do it every day. You can maybe do it 3 times a week. Then you're going to feel guilty and be like, but now I'm not living up to what I had set for myself, even though Busie said I could choose. I'm falling short of my own definition of motherhood, of my own wishes, or how the kind of mother that I wanted to be. I can't live up to that. But know that because of circumstances changing, certain things can change, and you're allowed to go back to the definition and redefine what motherhood means for you and redefine the kind of mother that you want to become. And that's absolutely okay. So I think it's important for us to always know that. And another thing about the importance of knowing that you can choose the kind of mother that you want to become is that the fact that you can choose the choice, it is so liberating. It is so liberating to know that you have a choice. It is so liberating to know that you're not forced to just fall into the good mother myth where everyone believes that mothers should do things like that and not do things like that, right? And another thing just for me is the fact that when you choose the kind of mother you want to become, it liberates you in a sense that you are able to work on areas of your life that you feel like need attention. This takes me back to when I was telling you guys about how I didn't speak up because I felt like I was gonna seem like I was being ungrateful. But the thing is, it's very much possible for you to be actually very satisfied and very happy about a specific area of your life and then be very unfulfilled and very unhappy in another area of your life. So when you choose the kind of mother you become, it allows you, it gives you that confidence to be able to say, you know what, I'm not being ungrateful. I just have looked at my life holistically, and I know that I'm happy with 1, 2, 3, 4, but 5, 6, 7, and 8 need my immediate attention. So yeah. That is it for today's episode about becoming a mother. So always remember that you are always becoming. Like Michelle Obama said, it doesn't end, the journey continues. So let me know your thoughts and what you wish you had known before becoming a mom and what just becoming a mom and growing into motherhood means for you. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, follow, subscribe, wherever you're enjoying this podcast from. I am Busie Sholo and I'll see you again next week.